cannot compare the popularity level as the Love bracelet. However, price increase on this particular piece did not go too crazy over the last 6 years. And I'm going to present it in every perspective for you guys. So if you are someone who are looking to purchase your first Cartier piece, I do think this particular one is an excellent choice. In today's video, I'm going to examine this particular piece because I have not taken a look at it on the microscopic scale after 6 years. What it's like to wear a piece that is not completely flat on the daily, and does it get in the way? Does it leave impressions on my wrist? And how easy it is to pair with other pieces. You ask me if I'm going to be buying this again today, the answer is heck yeah. Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. I plan on sharing another very beautiful piece from Cartier on a 6-year review journey, as I probably started my Cartier journey right around that time. I have looked back at my purchase archives and I found that the very first 2 pieces I have ever purchased from Cartier was from a very memorable trip in 2015, and that was when I traveled to Europe. First time I went on a trip with now my husband, then boyfriend, and we've traveled to different cities around Europe, and Rome being one of my favorite places still today after visiting many places. So this piece that I'm reviewing today holds a very sentimental and memorable experience for me. After shopping at different Cartier stores, I do think the 2 pieces I got from Rome are one of the best and more memorable experiences I have received. Today I will be reviewing Love bracelet on the chain from the Cartier Love collection. And I saw that you guys really enjoyed watching the 5-year review on my Love bracelet. So today I am going to be rolling out another 6-year review on one of my older Cartier pieces, and I'm going to present it in perspective for you guys. So if you are someone who are looking to purchase your first Cartier piece, I do think this particular one is an excellent choice, as that is the reason why I purchased this particular bracelet and the Cartier Love ring as my very first purchase. I did a little bit of archive digging before filming this video, and this particular piece I paid 1,660 euro. At that time it was considered pretty expensive for me because I had to save up to purchase these 2 pieces, as these 2 are my very first Cartier pieces. Last night before filming this video, I went back to visit the Cartier website for the current price on the Italian website. It is now currently around 1,740 euros. So 6 years later, about 4% price increase is more of an inflation than because it's a popular piece. The price have been driven up because of the demand. So after looking at it from that perspective, I do think this piece is a really great entry-level piece for someone who loves dainty pieces. I know a lot of my viewers are just like me. We love small, dainty, and decorative pieces on the wrist instead of the more statement-like jewelry. And I personally love a mix of both. I'm going to be going depth and examining this particular piece because I have not taken a look at it on the microscopic scale after 6 years. I certainly enjoyed wearing this piece on the daily for many years, so I figured I'm going to be sharing with you what it's like to wear a piece that is not completely flat on the daily, and does it get in the way? Does it leave impressions on my wrist? And how easy it is to pair with other pieces. So I think these are the information you want to know. I do have a Cartier playlist, going to link it in the description below, and you can also check out the other videos on the channel. Without further ado, let's get into the details of this beautiful 6-year-old Cartier Love bracelet on the chain. As you guys can see, I am wearing her today, and prior to that, my lovely husband helped me clean this out with a rouge cloth. The reason we cleaned it beforehand is so that you don't have to see the dirt and dust that is stuck inside of the bracelet, because obviously I have not personally cleaned it for the last 6 years. And later when we go into the zoom in section, you can see the actual wear and how well the pieces is worn after 6 years. It's more realistic that way, and visually it's more pleasant for you. Now that I can see the color difference between other rose gold Cartier pieces and this particular one, this has never looked so good. The rouge cloth surprisingly polished away some micro scratches on this bracelet and kind of restored the rose gold color. In person I can see quite quite a color difference between the two, and I'm actually loving the color differences between the two, as the rose gold appears to be more of a champagne and lightly touched rose gold. The design of this particular bracelet has two little love rings interconnected on a beautiful dainty chain. The chain is very sturdy. It's like the Van Cleef chain I have reviewed in another video. These chains on these small bracelets look really thin, but if you compare them to the other jewelry brand, I think Cartier and Van Cleef both did a really good job designing this chain. It looks dainty, it gives you that visual of two statement pieces. And also this bracelet does come in one length. I remember at the time when I purchased it, it was a little too big for me, so I just went into the local boutique, and I remember the policy at that time was after you purchase this piece, like within the first year, you can go in and have it resized once as a complimentary service. So I went ahead and did that after they measured the size of my wrist. I have decided to resize this bracelet. Obviously, I still have the additional chain stored somewhere else as the part of the link removal. The brand usually takes care of add or remove links for you, so you can definitely go in and receive that service. Usually it's complimentary, but I'm not sure if their policy has changed. The wearing part of the bracelet is probably what you want to know the most. And I'm gonna be really honest here, I did wear this piece non-stop 24/7 for about maybe 5.5 years. I have just recently took this particular piece out and replaced it with my beaded bracelet, as this was gifted to me. I have been wearing this bracelet full time after I had purchased it. I don't think it get in the way of things, as it is a very small piece compared to the other regular size Love and Just Include bracelet. Also, if you care to know how the other one wears, make sure you check out the Cartier playlist. As you can see from the side profile, it does rise above. It is not a flash design because one ring is laying flat while the other one is standing up. So I think a lot of you might be concerned that this kind of standing up middle part can caught onto things, and I can share my personal experience with you here. This piece has never caught onto anything, God forbid. Since we're on the topics of the centerpieces, I wanted to show you guys the wear, because since one little ring is sticking up, it does tend to get more scratches than the other. And let me bring it closer to you, and from this angle you can already see quite some micro and minor scratches on the surface of one of the ring that is laying flat, and it's completely normal. If you're just looking at it, I don't think you can pick it up. Another detail that really fascinates me is how well gold color is holding up. This is rose gold, and as you can see from inside out, everything still looks really rose gold and beautiful. And this is another angle, which is inner rings, and honestly not a lot of wearing are shown, and you can see that both pieces are still solid. It's very normal for any type of gold to scratch up because they're very soft. And realistically, these rings are very tiny in person, and I don't think you're able to look into it on this level without zooming, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. So this is the face of the bracelet, meaning this is where the symbol of the Love collection impression is created, and I'm going to roll over and show you guys all the details. You can see there are some dents and scratches that's on the edge of the little ring. There's no discoloration. It's still such a beautiful detail in my opinion. I've held it up in my hand and wore the black glove so you can see the proportion better. And as you guys know, there are two rings, so the one that's laying down will most likely get the most scratches, and this is the case. However, scratches are unavoidable on any gold jewelry pieces, so this is a normal wear to me, and I don't see any deformation besides scratches, so I can completely accept that after 6 years. This is how little the bracelet is. If I pull it away from you and look at it from afar, everything still looks pretty good and intact, and nothing is deformed. Because I mentioned earlier, the chain is a very sturdy, dainty chain. It does tend to leave impression if you are feeling more swelling on that day, which does happen to me because, you know, I'm kind of like that in-between size again, where my weight fluctuates, or if I eat too salty the night before, our body processes like salt differently. So when you're resizing the bracelet, if you decide to resize it, maybe give it more space. I would say my weight has shifted kind of like plus or minus 10 pounds in the last 6 years. So even though the bracelet still fit, sometimes the chains do leave little marks on my wrist. And that is just a general thing for anything you wear on your wrist, no matter if it's jewelry or watches. Watches probably are worse because they're bigger, and every time I wear a watch, when I take it out, I either get a watch tan or there is a bigger impression imprinted on my arm. Those things kind of go away really fast. It's a temporary thing, not a permanent tattoo. So I wouldn't worry too much about it, but it does leave impressions on your arm. And another really lovely thing this bracelet does is that it makes you jingle, okay? So whenever you move your wrist or whenever you're on the go, sometimes I almost feel like, oh, okay, it's time for me to adjust my bracelets again. And this little thing is just my jam. It makes really cute jingle sound, and I didn't really mind it. It's just like two little pieces of gold that's clashing together with each other, and you might hear it on your wrist too if this bracelet fits loosely on your arm. Another visual I could share with you guys is if you wear this bracelet on its own, it's completely fine. And if you decide to pair it with a different piece of jewelry, no matter what brand it is, it does not make the other piece look weird. It does not give this like weird pairing when you wear them together. It actually adds a layer and gives you that complete look to a styled wrist game. So I do think it's like, if you're worried about, oh, this is not gonna go with the rest of my jewelry collection, I do think you should try it on before you purchase it. Wear the other pieces of jewelry that you're thinking to add this piece with. See how you like the visual together. I personally think it is from the very iconic Love collection lineup from Cartier. So all of the pieces are carefully designed, and I'm pretty sure they're versatile enough to be worn on its own or paired with the other pieces. If you're a return viewer, you know that I love observing details and check out those mechanisms and everything. This particular piece has a very simple mechanism, as it is just connected by a chain, and at the end of it, it has a clasp. The clasp is a traditional kind of round shaped clasp, and it does stay on very well. Now let's take a look at the wear on the clasp. I think it's called the lobster clasp, and clearly you can see there is a little cavity on the inside of the hook, and that's where dust and everything grease tend to hide. And on the outside of the clasp you can see some scratches, and that is completely normal. Clasp is face down, so whenever you touch any surface, that will get the most wear. And here are some close-up for the chains. You can see perhaps there's like a two-tone difference. One layer it looks more gold, the other one looks more rose gold. Once again, if you look at it from an angle, everything still looks polished and very shiny, so they're very sturdy chains. Out of all the years I've owned it and worn it on my wrist, it had not opened on its own or fallen off from my wrist. And also there's no danger hazard. There wasn't a time where I was worrying about, oh, are these going to fall off my wrist, or is the clasp going to open on its own? So if you have that kind of concern, you can get rid of that on your list right now, because it's closed and it's not going to fall off your wrist. And lastly, let's touch up on the price and also the position of this particular bracelet from the rest of the collection. You and I both know Love collection is one of the most iconic design from Cartier, and everybody recognizes that. And this little thing cannot compare completely on the popularity level as the Love bracelet. However, I do think because of that, the price inflation or price increase on this particular piece did not go too crazy over the last 6 years. As I previously mentioned, the price I paid 6 years ago compared to today, it had only increased about 4% in euros. And remind you, if you are an American traveling to Europe, when you are returning to your country, when you have the receipt, also you have to request a tax form when you're purchasing these pieces. When you're returning, you can actually get 10 to 14% rebate from all of your purchases. I remember I opted in for the cash one, so it's a little less on the spectrum. I got about 12% back, which is phenomenal, because at that time when I travel, the currency exchange between euros and US dollars are very minimal. It was like 120.98. And on top of that, I received 12% tax return. Tax return is basically an agreement between the EU nation and our country. Whenever you're buying goods from the European nation, when you leave the country, they refund you the tax differences because the price had already included tax. However, if you are purchasing anything locally, you do have to pay local tax. That's why there is a tax return when you buy things from Europe, and on your trip back, make sure you claim that tax refund. Nowadays, situation might be a little bit different, but I don't think you're paying significantly more. For your information, I have also compared the prices in euros, but in different countries. For example, Italy has the highest price point. And like I said, the 4% inflation in Italy kind of does not really apply to the prices here in the US. Currently on the US website, the current price for this piece is about $1,700 plus local tax. So depending on where you live, if you live in a state that does not have a Cartier store or a tax exempt state, then clearly you don't have to pay tax on top of it. But where I live, I do pay up to almost 10% local tax. If you're traveling, maybe think about purchasing these pieces because it's much more meaningful that way as well. Alrighty, you guys, I hope I've provided enough information on this particular piece for you. If you ask me if I'm going to be buying this again today, the answer is heck yeah, because it is such a great piece to start your jewelry collection, and also that way you can kind of test it out whether or not fine jewelry is suitable for your daily wear. Instead of spending $5,000 or $6,000 on a brand new piece that you think it's a lot of upfront investment on a jewelry piece. If you come up with anything new or things that I have not addressed in the video, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And as I mentioned, I do have a very particular Cartier playlist on the channel. So if you want to look for more information on different pieces, I'm trying my best to cover the collection for you. And if you have not subscribed but watched the video until now, I would love you to join my first luxury and give this video a thumbs up because it really supports the channel. That is it for today. I hope to see you on the next one. Take care, guys. Bye.